Hello, I'm Elizabeth from the Springville Museum of Art. For today's art lesson, we are going to be combining math and visual arts to create a quilt square. This lesson is for students in grade 1 through 2, but can be adapted for students in grade K through 3. Some of the lesson objectives that we will be focusing on today include discussing what it means to be kind, learning how to use a ruler to draw straight lines, and drawing different types of lines and shapes. Some of the materials that we will be using today include 2 images from the Springville Museum of Art's permanent collection, a storybook titled "What Does It Mean to Be Kind?", any kind of paper, colored pencils, markers, crayons, or watercolors, and a ruler. Here are a few definitions that will help us in our art lesson today. A quilt square is smaller pieces of fabric that are sewn together to make a larger quilt. A textile is a type of cloth or woven fabric. And equidistant means the same distance apart. What does it mean to be kind? Pause this video and follow the link below to the storybook called "What Does It Mean to Be Kind?" This book gives examples of how to be kind at school. We can be kind at school by smiling to the new kid in class, or by sticking up for someone who's being bullied. What are some other ways that we can be kind at home? We can be kind at home by doing our chores, helping cook a meal, writing a nice note for someone, or drawing something fun. Now, let's take a look at this image by the artist Barbara Summers Edwards. What do you see? Would you say it is in the daytime or nighttime? What season do you think it is? How does the woman show kindness to her son? What can quilts be used for? Think of a time that you used a quilt. What did you use it for? Let's look at this other image by Irene Warren called Rug Pictorial. This work of art is a textile. What do you see? What color is the border around the landscape? Does this landscape remind you of somewhere you have been? Does it look like somewhere you might want to go? This rug tells a story. What do you think the story is? Today we are going to be making a type of quilt square using paper, crayons, colored pencils, markers, or watercolors. You can see here that I have my colored pencils ready, my crayons, and my markers. I don't have any watercolors, but if you have some at home, you should definitely use them. What you're going to do is you're going to pick 2 of the options to color your quilt square with. First, we are going to draw a border for our quilt square. We're going to start by placing the ruler on the paper and line it up with the left side. We're going to hold the ruler with our thumb and forefinger. I'll show you how. So we line it up, and then you want to leave just a little bit of space on the edge right here. That will help with our borders. We've lined it up, and we're going to take our writing hand and we're going to draw on the writing side of the ruler. Draw a straight line. Just like that, all the way from the top to the bottom. We have our ruler nice and straight, so our line should be pretty straight too. Let's look. Perfect. All right, next we are going to flip it to the left side, flip it like this, And we're going to do the same thing on all 4 sides of the paper. We will line up our ruler using our thumb and forefinger just like I showed you and draw a straight line. Alright, here we have 4 lines drawn on each side, creating our border for our quilt square. And in the center is where we're going to draw our picture for the quilt square. Now we are ready to fill our quilt border with lots of different shapes and lines. I'm going to do 2 sides of shapes and 2 sides of lines to make a fun pattern for my quilt border. And you can see I've decided to use my crayons and my markers to color my shapes and lines with. First, we're going to draw our shapes. I'm going to be drawing some circles and squares. What other shapes can you think of to draw? Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fill in the border with a red crayon like I drew for the lines of the border. Alright, now I'm ready to draw my lines for this side of the border right here. I'm going to take my blue marker again, and I'm going to do some fun little diagonal lines. Alright, we are all done. We have 4 sides with equal lines that are straight and the same distance apart. Okay, we are ready to draw the main picture on our quilt square. You are going to draw a picture of you doing something kind. We talked about ways to be kind at home and at school. Draw a picture of you doing something kind right here in the center. Then write a sentence on the back of your paper that tells the story about what you drew. Here's my finished picture. I drew a picture of me helping out in the yard. The sentence I wrote on the back says, "I can be kind by helping my family in the yard." Here's an assessment for your drawing activity. Are your border lines straight? Is your border decorated with different lines and shapes? Did you draw a picture in the center? Did you write a sentence about your picture? That's the end of our lesson. We created a kindness quilt square using straight lines and different shapes to create a border. We learned about different ways to show kindness and how quilts are used in art. I want to invite you to do this with your family or classmates. Have everyone draw a kindness quilt square. Then put all the squares together to make a kindness quilt. Thank you for joining me today. Look for more lesson plans from our education department here at the Springville Museum of Art. You can find a printed copy of this lesson in the links below, as well as a link to our website for other resources. We'd love to see the project you made today. You can find us on social media at Springville Museum and use the hashtag SMA lesson plan.